Good evening, good people. Pastor Todd here with your weekly video meditation. Looking forward to the Sunday worship ahead. Next Sunday's worship will be 16, 17, 18, October 18th. Now, the theme of this Sunday's worship is very topical and, of course, very controversial. There's not much in 2020 that isn't controversial, it seems. We're going to be talking about the separation of church and state as it's outlined in Jesus' own words. And those that are biblically savvy may predict or guess that the scripture we're going to be working on vis-a-vis the separation of church and state is the give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Now, that's a very vivid image, Jesus asking them to look at the coin and see whose graven image, and we've heard of that term before, is on the coin. And of course they say Caesar's, and Jesus' response is give unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and God what is God's. And we're going to look at what the Pharisees, I don't want to reveal too much about the worship. We're going to look at what the Pharisees ask first. What is the question? To which Jesus responds, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. So we'll look at that. We're, again, separation of church and state, maybe God and nation. And just to frame it a little bit, I won't read the psalm during the worship, but here's the psalm for the Sunday, October 18th. It's Psalm 99. The Lord rules, the nations shake. Nations plural. The nations shake. He sits enthroned on the winged heavenly creatures, the earth quakes. The Lord is great in Zion. He is exalted over all the nations. Let them thank your great and awesome name. He is holy. Strong King who loves justice, you are the one who established what is fair. You worked justice and righteousness in Jacob. Magnify the Lord our God. Bow low at his footstool. He is holy. Moses and Aaron were among his priests. Samuel too among those who call on his name. They cried out to the Lord, and he himself answered them. He spoke to them from a pillar of cloud. They kept the laws and the rules God gave to them. Lord our God, you answered them. To them you are a God who forgives, but also who avenged their wrong deeds. Magnify the Lord our God, bow low at his holy mountain, because the Lord our God is holy. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. So if we listen to this, we pay attention, he says nations plural, and United States of America is a nation. So obviously the rule of God, God's sovereignty, is over nations, including America. Something different, something above for followers of Christ. So we'll look at that sticky wicket. Separation of church and state should be topical for an election year. So there's the look ahead. As you know, I give you a weekly racial equity term, or continue to work on racial sensitivity. This week's term is diaspora. Diaspora. And you may have heard this term before in biblical studies because it's what they use to describe what happens to the Jews twice. They're enslaved and taken somewhere else. And because of the constant oppression of the Jews by various and sundry powers, they were spread. Diaspora is a root word shared with like scattering seeds, a term used for scattering seeds. So the Jews were spread out through the world, and of course continue to be oppressed, as we know. We've read our history, including World War II. And that term diaspora can also be applied to African Americans. That's what we're focusing the racial equity terms and understanding, cultivating racial sensitivity about the relationship with the American culture, specifically the dominant culture, and how it relates to the African American community. So we see that the black Africans, there was a diaspora as well. Due to slavery, due to their harsh treatment, they were taken away from their homeland. And consider that when you hear this definition. Diaspora is the voluntary and forcible movement of peoples from their homelands into new regions. a common element in all forms of diaspora. These are people who live outside their natal or imagined natal territories and recognize that their traditional homelands are reflected deeply in the languages they speak, religions they adore, and the cultures they produce. So this can dovetail to cultural racism when we understand that they have brought, the African Americans have brought certain cultural norms, and because of white hegemony, those have been relegated to something less than, just because they're adopted by African Americans. So this is your challenge. I just want you to look up the term Jewish diaspora. Diaspora. I can't pronounce that correctly. It looks like it should be diaspora. Whatever. Here, I'll show it. You can. There's how you spell it. There we go. So look up Jewish diaspora. You will read a little bit on what that term means in regards to the biblical narrative, and it's easy to overlay that narrative on what has happened to African Americans in their history, and why it is so Christian to engage in this idea of racial justice and the burgeoning racial justice that's happening, albeit painful, in our country. So there you have it, my very good friends, good folks. I look forward to seeing you on Sunday, October 18th. Until we meet again, God bless you.